What's up, everyone? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and if you're a fan of Street Fighter 2 and you have a Nintendo Switch, you probably already know about Ultra Street Fighter 2: The Final Challengers, which is going to release in 2 days on this Friday, the 26th of May 2017. So, we all know, quick little recap if you don't. What is Ultra Street Fighter 2: The Final Challengers? Wow, that's quite a mouthful of a name to say. But basically, it's the most up to date version of that over 20-year-old game that is Street Fighter 2 that basically set the world ablaze when it comes to one on one fighting games. So, what does it have versus a previous version? Well, straight away, it uses the HD remix graphics that were on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 about 9 years ago, I want to say. I'm pretty sure it released in 2008. So it uses the same graphical art style developed by, or well, implemented by Udon Studios from Japan, and they're a legendary art studio. So that's pretty good to see. Other than that, there's a couple of extra small little additions put in. There's two new characters. I say new in the loosest sense of the word. They're basically just reskins of existing characters with very minor balance changes, which have actually already appeared in different games, just not Street Fighter 2 games. So you've got Evil Ryu and Violent Ken. They're basically the same as their normal counterparts, just palette swapped and a bit overpowered. So other than that, there's only one or two real things of actual note put into the game. There's something called Way of the Hado, which is a slight 3D mini game where you have to use the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons to perform Ryu's moves to take down 3D enemies, like throw Hadoukens and do Shoryukens, things like that. But other than that, there's a palette swap or a color palette editor, so you can put your own spin on your own customizable characters. You just put your own personal touches on however you like to see them, as well as a huge digital art book, which is supposedly gorgeous. I haven't seen it myself. But anyway, that's the main point that I've spent way too long talking about. So, first off, the game launches in 2 days, as I mentioned. The review scores have been, well, not scores, but the reviews have been embargoed until today, which I spoke about 2 weeks ago when I was kind of worried about some of the stuff that was detailed in the preview and review embargoes. So, now that the reviews are starting to come out for Ultra Street Fighter 2, it's very worrying. A lot of places are giving this, it's hard to say because many places are holding off exact score numbers, but the reason why they're doing that is because the online features are not enabled yet, and if these features are good, they might be able to score 1 or 2 points higher than they're currently sitting at, where if it's bad, they might leave it at where it is or drop it down. So most places don't have a direct score out for them yet, but when you read the reviews, and usually even though they don't have a score, most of them will give you the general gist of if you should buy it, if it's essential, if you need to avoid it like the plague, if you're a big Street Fighter fan, maybe, that kind of thing. And the reviews are pretty damning. So every review I have seen for this game, I've seen 7 different reviews, and the best review that I saw for Ultra Street Fighter 2 on the Nintendo Switch was, if you are a hardcore Street Fighter fan and want to own the best iteration, or the latest iteration, I should say. I can't remember if it said best or latest. I'm almost 100% it said latest iteration of Street Fighter 2. This is a game for you to buy. Pretty much everyone else said hold off till it goes cheap or avoid it like the plague. So there's basically one semi-positive review. Now, the problem with it is the reviews all take the entire thing into consideration for all the extra modes and features and all that. Basically, everything within the game outside of the standard 1v1 mode, or whatever you want to call it, 1v CPU, arcade, or just player versus player. Basically, all of that is fine. And apparently, with the exception of the digital art book, which isn't really going to appeal to many people, with the exception of that and the actual fighting aspect of it, apparently everything else is lackluster and just kind of a write-off and a token addition. So some of the big gripes with it, which there's one huge gripe which factors into all of this, which I'll get into in a moment, but some of the big gripes are that while the The graphics and all have been updated. Sure, you can opt to play in the old school style pixelated modes, similar to you'd have on your Super Nintendo or the like. But the big issue is that a lot of the animations haven't been updated. So while the art has been, a lot of the animations haven't, which can be a huge removal issue. So that can be a big jarring issue when it comes to all of that. As far as the balance changes go, I don't know anything about them because I don't know. Whenever reviewers talk about the actual balance changes, I don't know their particular experience with Street Fighter, so I can't comment on that one. But a lot of the other stuff, I mean, the Way of the Hadou mode is basically useless. Not only is it apparently not fun, but the actual Joy-Con inputs don't register half the time. So you're there throwing Hadoukens and nothing happens, or you're there throwing Shoryukens and nothing happens, or you're doing one thing and something else happens. So apparently it's a load of crap, and it's not even a very good mode. Online, who knows how it's going to be. The servers and the online servers aren't active as it is yet, but it's Nintendo Online even in 2017, so chances are it's going to be pretty sketchy at best. So it's kind of worrying. I know I have Ultra Street Fighter 2 pre-ordered on Amazon.co.uk. Funny enough, because it's going to come to €42. It's £35, so it's €42 on Amazon. Because it's €70 here in Ireland. If you buy a physical retail game card, because they're not cartridges, people, if you buy a physical retail game card, they are €70 here in Ireland for Ultra Street Fighter 2, which is fucking ridiculous. But anyway, let's get back to the actual point. So the biggest gripe with the entire game and the entire purchase is that everything we've talked about with the positive combat and just the graphics and everything added in as a bonus and an extra and all that may seem fine. Okay, the rest of the stuff doesn't really take away from the game, except for maybe Way of the Hadou, because that's a joke. But when you look at everything that's included with it, the biggest issue is that this game, as I mentioned with my little Amazon spiel, is retailing pretty expensively. Now, fair enough, it's not retailing as expensive as a full price Nintendo Switch game. But let me put this in comparison for you. Back in 2008, when Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix, God, these names are such a handful, mouthful even. But when that launched 9 years ago, it was less than €20. I believe it was €16 on the Xbox 360 at the time. Could have been $16.99, but I want to say €16. So the fact is, it's launching at over twice the price with extremely minor additions. And that is the biggest issue. You're essentially paying over double for the same game with one or two extras and extra crap that is negligible at best. So that's the biggest gripe with the game. The fact is that it's not worth your money. A lot of people, myself included, felt originally that when the price was announced, if it was at €25 or less, it would have been perfect. €20 or less would have been perfect. 25 would have kind of been the max I would have stretched at the time. But the only reason I did cave and buy it, because once I found out the price, I said I'm not buying it. But a little bit of quick backstory here from a couple of weeks ago. I actually played the Street Fighter 5 beta, the updated Capcom Network beta or whatever it's called, for the first time ever, because I had no interest in Street Fighter 5. So once I actually played that, it was so ridiculously bad. I said, you know what? If this is what Capcom and Street Fighter has become, I'm going to go back to Street Fighter 2. Now, fair enough, I have a SNES cartridge of my favorite Street Fighter 2. There's a port of that one on the 360. I have HD Remix on the 360. And to be honest, if they had put the HD Remix on backwards compatibility on Xbox One, I would not be buying this Nintendo Switch game. Anyway, it's kind of worrying. We'll see how it goes. I'm still going to buy mine. It's going to ship to me probably either tomorrow or Friday. Unfortunately, I won't have it next week, but you will see some of it up here on the channel starting at some point next week. So what's the deal? Are you excited for Ultra Street Fighter 2 The Final Challengers on Nintendo Switch? Are you, skeptic? Are you worried, especially after the reviews come out? Have they changed your mind? Are you going to take a wait and see? Or do you really want it? You just don't want to pay €40+ for it and you're going to pick it up when it goes dirt cheap. Let me know all of that anyway in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter, details in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.